Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I will be taking you through Othello by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is one of the notable playwrights of literature. And when you talk about literature, then you must talk about William Shakespeare. It is believed that William Shakespeare was born in the year 1564 at Stratford-upon Avenue. It is believed that he died around 1616, and there are more than 37 plays published in his name. And one of the classics that he wrote is Othello. And I'll take you through the cast list of Othello. And the major characters here, we have Othello. There is Desdemona, who is Othello's wife. There is Iago, the villain of the play. There is Brabantio, the father to Desdemona. There is the Duke, and the action takes place in a place called Venice. And the highest authority in Venice is the Duke of Venice. There is Rodrigo, who is an instrument which Iago uses to prosper his villainy or knavery. There is Emilia, the wife to Iago, Montano, the governor of Cyprus before Othello goes there. There is Michael Cassio, who has recently been appointed as the lieutenant to Othello. There is Ludovico, a senator and a cousin to Othello and Desdemona. Then there is lastly the Bianca, who is a mistress to Michael Cassio. The notable episodes: the play begins on a street next to Brabantio's house, and there is Rodrigo and Iago. They are discussing on the promotion that has been done to Michael Cassio as the lieutenant. Iago remains the staff sergeant to Othello, and Iago feels that Othello should have promoted him to the position of the lieutenant and not Michael Cassio. Again, it occurs to us that that Othello has eloped with Desdemona, with Brabantio's daughter, and Rodrigo seems to have interest in Desdemona as well, and that is why the duo go and report Othello to Brabantio, and they tell Brabantio that the Moor, as Othello is being called, and look at your dictionary, you'll realize that Moors were African Muslims who conquered Spain in around 8 BC. And when Brabantio looks, he realizes that truly Desdemona is not there. So then he prepares a search party, and the search for Desdemona begins. They meet Othello and Iago, who has run to Othello. And you can look at the villainy that Iago has. You know, he has gone and told Brabantio that Othello has your daughter Desdemona. And then he has run again to Othello. And when they meet there, when the two meet, Brabantio confronts Othello and asks him why he has eloped with Desdemona. And at that point, there is also a party that has been dispatched from the Grand Duke, who is meeting on political affairs, because the Turks have been seen, their fleet has been seen approaching at first the Rhodes Island, and at the same time, some have also been seen to be approaching Cyprus. So Othello has been called on political matters to be sent as the governor of Cyprus to protect it from the invading uh, Turks. And at that point, the duo, after some little bit of confrontation, move to the Duke, that is the Senate, where senators are meeting. And Brabantio makes his point, accuses Othello of using sorcery, and that is his belief in superstition. That is why we have superstition as one of the major themes here. That Othello used sorcery and witchcraft to win Desdemona. And Othello says that the only witchcraft that he has used on Desdemona is that in the past, Brabantio used to call him at his home, and he could narrate the tales of his escapades, his boyhood, of how he was made a slave. And kind of this talk made Desdemona to fall in love with him. And he even offers that Desdemona be called so that she can witness. When Desdemona comes, Desdemona says that she owes her education, she owes her upbringing to her father Brabantio. But just the same way that her mother owed the father her loyalty, that is the same way that he owes her loyalty to the Moor. Fast forward, Othello is handed over Desdemona, and then he moves on an assignment to Cyprus. In getting to Cyprus, Iago is attempting to bring about the bad blood between Cassio, Michael Cassio, who's the lieutenant, and the Moor. And he knows very well that Cassio can sometimes be irrational when he's drunk. He forces him to drink. And after drinking, he sends Rodrigo to go and arc him. And Rodrigo does that. And Cassio gives Rodrigo a thorough beating. And then Iago plans to organize and orchestrate some mutiny of the soldiers. So he sends Rodrigo to go and ring the bell. That kind of disorients Cyprus in that moment of tension. And at that point, when Othello comes out, he straight away sacks Michael Cassio as his lieutenant. And things seem to be working to Iago's plan. Iago also wants to cash in on Othello's ease to suspicion. And he tells his wife, Emilia, unknowingly, to bring him the handkerchief that Othello first gave to Desdemona. And when he takes this handkerchief, he tells Othello that he has found it at Michael Cassio's place. Apart from that, he first moves to, he then moves to Michael Cassio and tells Michael Cassio that the only person who can help him out of his situation is Desdemona. And remember, there has been bad blood between Michael Cassio, the lieutenant, and Othello, the general. So when Michael Cassio goes to petition Desdemona to talk on his behalf with Othello, Iago walks around with Othello. And when Michael Cassio sees them approach, he moves away. And Iago cashes in on that by telling Othello that, you see, he's moving away. He's having an affair with your wife. So that is the kind of extent to which Iago's villainy goes. The destructive jealousy in Othello rises with time. And at some point, he has instructed Iago to eliminate and kill Michael Cassio. Iago's plan is that he stations Roderigo at a point where Michael Cassio is going to pass so that Iago can do the needful. And Rodrigo makes that attempt, though it is not successful. And maybe to terminate evidence, Iago kills Rodrigo at that point, and Michael Cassio somehow survives. Then, after that, the jealousy in Othello has reached top notch, and he therefore decides to kill Desdemona through suffocation, and Desdemona dies. At that point, after the death of Desdemona, when Emilia, the wife of Iago, has come to report about the wounds that has befallen Michael Cassio, Desdemona makes one last say and says that it is not the Moor Othello who has killed her, but that she has killed herself. She shows her love, and she says that she has not been unfaithful as Othello accuses her. And it is Emilia who now lays everything bare to Othello, that all the things that have been happening here have been orchestrated by Iago, who has taken advantage of the trust that he has in him, and also his ease at suspicion. And Iago knives Emilia before running away, though in the end Montano and Soldier brings him back. So the play ends when Othello has realized that Iago has been playing the villain, and a villain is like a bad person. Knavery is the action whereby someone tries to use malice on the others, maybe to achieve what they want, which in most cases is harmful. So basically, that is the simple plot of Othello by William Shakespeare. There are some of the major places that have been mentioned here, and the action to a greater part takes place in Cyprus, though it begins in Venice. Then the fleet by the Turks was believed to be going to Rhodes. Then Michael Cassio is from a place called Florence. Then at one point, Iago tells Rodrigo that Othello has been recalled. That is when Lodovico arrives with the message from the Senate that he is going to Mauritania. And then there is also the mention of Aleppo there. The major themes we have talked about: the theme of jealousy, that is quite destructive and engulfs Othello. There is also racism, having the black skin, black complexion. At the beginning of the text, Iago uses that contemptuously and racially abuses Othello. Then lastly, there is the theme of death, as in most of the Shakespearean tragedy of which Othello is. Thank you very much, viewers. If you are new here, kindly consider hitting onto that subscribe button so that anytime we produce a video like this, YouTube will notify you. Thank you.